6 money mistakes I made in my 20s. I'm 36 years old, and when I sit down and actually calculate what my money mistakes cost me, not just the cash I lost, but the investment growth I missed out on, the number is over £80,000. And here's what makes it worse. I didn't make these mistakes because I was careless or irresponsible. I made them because when I moved to the UK, nobody handed me a rulebook. I was navigating a brand new financial system. New banks, new tax rules, new investment accounts, completely on my own. The people around me who grew up here had parents who taught them this stuff. I didn't have that, so I figured it out the hard way, and it cost me. Today, I'm going to walk you through every single mistake with the real numbers so that you don't have to pay the same price I did.
Welcome to Nexo Finance, where we make investing and personal finance simple. This channel exists because I genuinely believe the biggest barrier between most people and financial freedom isn't income, it's information. And that gap hits hardest for people who are new to this country. If that's you, you're in the right place. Subscribe, because what we cover here is built for people who are starting from scratch and want to build real wealth in the UK. Right. 6 mistakes, real numbers. Let's go.
Mistake number 1, and the most expensive of the 6. I left my money sitting in a savings account for years. When I first arrived in the UK, a savings account felt like the safe, responsible move. I was in a new country, I didn't fully understand the financial system yet, and putting money in a bank felt secure. But here's what I didn't understand. The average UK savings account was paying somewhere between 0.1% and 1% interest. Inflation was running at 2 to 3%. So in real terms, my money was losing value every single year, and I felt good about it. Here's what the numbers actually look like. If I had invested just £200 a month from age 22 into a simple index fund tracking the S&P 500, which has averaged roughly 10% annual returns historically, by age 36, I'd have around £83,000. Instead, I have the savings account version, roughly £28,000. That's a £55,000 difference from £200 a month, just from starting earlier. The lesson? Time in the market beats almost every other financial decision you will ever make. Start, even if it's £50 a month. The best time was 10 years ago. The second best time is today.
Mistake 2. Every time my income went up, my spending went up with it. When I started earning more in the UK, I wanted to enjoy it. And I did. New car, nicer flat, better holidays, eating out more. It felt like a reward for working hard. But there's a psychological trap hidden in this. It's called hedonic adaptation. We adjust to new standards of living almost immediately. The $60K salary starts to feel just as tight as the $30K salary did, because your spending quietly expanded to fill the space. And as someone who moved here and worked hard to build a life from nothing, I think this trap hits immigrants particularly hard. You want to show progress. You want to feel like you've made it. Spending more is the most visible way to do that. The fix I wish I'd applied: automate a percentage before you see it. Every time I got a raise, I should have immediately increased my savings or investment contribution by at least half that raise. You never miss money you never see. Not once in my 20s did I do this. Not once.
Mistake 3 physically hurts me to talk about. When I arrived in the UK, nobody told me about the stocks and shares ISA. Not my employer, not my bank, not anyone. And this is one of those things that people who grew up here often just know. It gets passed down. Parents mention it, friends talk about it. But if you didn't grow up here, there's a real chance nobody ever told you. So let me tell you now. A stocks and shares ISA is a government-backed investment account where you can put in up to £20,000 every single year, and every penny of growth is completely tax-free. No capital gains tax, no income tax on dividends, zero. I was investing outside of an ISA for years, which means I was handing HMRC money I didn't need to give them. The capital gains tax allowance in the UK is now just £3,000 for the 2024-25 tax year. Anything above that, and you're paying up to 24% on your gains. Inside an ISA, 0. Every year for life. If you are watching this and you are not using your ISA allowance, open one today. This is the most valuable tax advantage available to every single person in the UK. Use it.
Mistake 4. Credit card debt like they were free money. In the early years after moving here, building a credit history felt important, and credit cards were the main tool to do it. Which is true, but I didn't fully understand how expensive they were to carry a balance on. The average UK credit card charges around 22 to 25% APR. Here's what that means in practice. If you carry a £2,000 balance and only make the minimum payment, you'll take over 10 years to pay it off and pay nearly £2,500 in interest alone, more than the original debt. I carried credit card balances for most of my mid-20s. Not huge amounts, but consistently £1,000, £1,500. It felt manageable. It wasn't the mental shift that fixed this for me. A credit card purchase is a loan at 24% interest every single time. Would you take out a 24% loan to buy those trainers? No. Then don't put them on a card you won't clear in full. Use credit cards for the credit history. Pay them off completely every single month. That's the only way to play. Mistake 5 nearly broke me financially and mentally. When you move to a new country, you're often starting with very little. Building up savings at all feels like an achievement. But I made the mistake of thinking that any savings I had were fine to spend. There was no specific pot set aside for emergencies. Then something went wrong. A big, unexpected bill. I had no buffer. It went on the credit card. That credit card took months to pay off. The stress of that period affected everything. My focus, my work, my sleep. One event, cascading consequences. All because I didn't have £1,000 sitting in an easy access account, untouched. The standard advice is 3 to 6 months of expenses. But if you have nothing right now, just focus on £1,000 first. That single buffer handles most financial emergencies most people will ever face. Car repair, boiler breakdown, unexpected bill, a gap between jobs. A $1,000 emergency fund means none of those become a debt spiral. Build this before you invest, before you aggressively pay off debt, before anything else. This is the financial foundation everything else sits on. Mistake 6. I accepted what I was offered every time. And I think this is something a lot of immigrants can relate to. There can be a feeling that you should be grateful for the opportunity, that asking for more might seem ungrateful or pushy, or might put the offer at risk. I felt all of that, so I stayed quiet. Twice I accepted first offers. Both times I later found out colleagues in equivalent roles were earning significantly more, not because they were better, because they asked. Here's the data that changed how I think about this. Research suggests that people who consistently negotiate their salary can earn significantly more over the course of their career than those who always accept the first offer. Some estimates put the lifetime difference in the hundreds of thousands of pounds. And here's the compounding effect people miss. Your salary is your biggest financial asset in your 20s and 30s. A £5,000 raise today means your next job negotiation starts $5,000 higher. Your pension contributions grow. Your mortgage affordability improves. The ripple effect over a decade is enormous. You are not being ungrateful by knowing your value and asking for it. You are being smart. Use Glassdoor, LinkedIn Salary, and Total Jobs to benchmark your role in the UK. Know your number. Then ask for it. Calmly, confidently, with data. The summary. Here's the version you can screenshot. 1. Start investing early. Even £50 a month. Time is your greatest asset. 2. When your income goes up, don't let your spending follow. Automate the difference. 3. Open a stocks and shares ISA. £20,000 a year, completely tax-free. Use it. 4. Credit card debt at 24% APR is expensive. Clear the balance every month. 5. Build a £1,000 emergency fund before you do anything else. 6. Negotiate your salary. It compounds for the rest of your career.
I made all 6 of these, some of them for years, and the total cost, lost investment growth, interest paid, and salary I left on the table is well over £80,000. But every single one of these is fixable. Some of them today. The ISA, you can open one right now. The emergency fund, you can set up an automatic transfer in 5 minutes. The negotiation, your next review is your opportunity. If you move to this country and you're trying to build something from scratch, this channel is for you. Everything I cover here is designed to close the gap between people who grew up knowing these rules and people like us who had to figure it out alone. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next one.